Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sean and they have no time to look through all your garbage.
All of the people that I have missed, they are no longer in my life.
So today I thought that I'll be doing an informative video and talk about how we got into NTU ADM. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, so today I have two special guests, which are my two good friends, Sandra and Justin, who were my classmates in Year 1, Sem 1. Today we'll be sharing the portfolio and how we got into ADM, basically, how we got to art school. Without further ado, we'll get to some self-introduction and our background before we got into art school. Alright, so we'll start with Justin right here. So Justin, please.
Hi everyone. So as I mentioned, I'm the only poly kid here. So for those people in poly out there, you have to understand that yes, it's harder to get into university. We're not hiding the fact. So I was doing architecture in Ngee Ann Polytechnic in sustainable urban design and engineering. For me, it was a sudden choice for going into art school because I had no intention of going to art school. I just applied because it was something that I could do similar to what I was doing in the design field. So I thought I'll take that leap of faith because I didn't expect to get in. Yeah, but I'm here.
We'll go with Sandra next. We'll give some background.
I can't take this. I'm Sandra and I came from JC. I had no art background, meaning I didn't take O-level or A-level arts. I had some personal projects or like for maybe school presentations, stuff like that. I did videos for it, so I just decided like maybe after going to NTU open house, I found out about ADM and I realized, okay, this is an option for me. I just went ahead with it.
I came from junior college as well. For me, my only background was I did H2 art in junior college. So I didn't do in O-levels. And back in junior college, when I was looking at the list of universities I wanted to go, I saw ADM and I was like, this is the only school I want to go because I really wanted to do art at that point in time, and I only applied to ADM actually, I didn't apply to anywhere else. That's a big background for all of us, and we will now show you our portfolio, which got us into art school. Alright, so we'll start with going through the admission requirements. So the admission package is split into 4 parts. So first part is the portfolio. The second part is the writing sample and personal statement. Third part is creative projects, which they will give you a theme and you have to answer the question. And the fourth part is visuals, which will consist of 3 questions, which you have to submit a visual for each. So without further ado, let's go into the portfolio first, where we will showcase our portfolio. So I submitted my portfolio 5 years ago in 2016, and I only entered ADM in 2019. But for them is...
Ours was we did our portfolio we submitted our portfolio in 2019. Yeah, so it was the year that we actually got in also.
The structure has remained the same for the portfolio and has not differed much at all. So let's show you our portfolio. Okay, so who wants to start first? Who wants to show their portfolio first?
Me, I'll go first.
She wants to show her portfolio
I'll
first.
go first because mine's the worst. So basically, as mentioned before, I have no art background. So to come up with 16 to 20 portfolio, I thought it was almost impossible, but it's apparently not impossible. For example, for A-level project work, there's an optional video segment for the presentation part, right? So what I did a stop motion video. It was quite bad lah, but
Global warming will be enhanced, causing the melting of icebergs, forest fires to break out, blah blah blah, in which both destroys the homes of wild animals.
I had this kind of little videos, or like in secondary school when I was going on VIA projects or excursions, I would take little vlogs and stuff like that. So I used all these videos that I have to submit into my portfolio. On top of that, I tried writing songs also, and it was quite horrible lah, thinking like
Things of the world's gonna make me mad. just the tattoo in the
Other than that, so now I have a lot of audio and video stuff. I also had really funny things like paper mache. So for school carnival, I made a Chewbacca head using paper mache. So that was also one of my submissions, as well as I made hand-drawn keychains for the people that I worked with at this intern place, and I drew it on a shrinking paper that I had to put into the oven until it became like a hard little plastic thingy. So these were the kind of things that I had in my portfolio.
Here's a sample of her music right now.
Oh no!
And videos!
OK， 大家各位晚上好，其实是早上好，现在是大概9点多。
I hope like by showing my portfolio will give some encouragement to other people, because I really had no experience or knowing about ADM was so last minute, and it was really quite a leap of faith, because generally throughout my life I wanted to do science because I was very interested in science, but only after going for internships in both film and I did the job shadowing opportunity with a doctor, so I get to see a life of a doctor and like the surgical rooms and the research rooms and stuff like that. It was only when I went through these internships that I realized I don't want to do science and I would like to try doing arts. So I feel like for those who can relate to me, don't be afraid to try to dig out your not too good pieces of artwork, because until now ADM has not really released what they're looking out for as when you submit your admission requirements. So just go for it lah. There's no harm in trying.
So Justin, would you like to share your portfolio next?
Right, sure. Yeah, can I take a look?
Yes, you can take a look at your own portfolio.
Alright, so for my portfolio, as mentioned, I was from an architectural background, so naturally what I submitted was what I did within that 3 years in Ngee Ann. So just like to give a brief breakdown of what I did was, I submitted a few projects. So there are like, there's one called the Volunteer and Philanthropy Centre, which is a project situated in Kampong Glam, where we are kind of tasked to design like a community space lah. So this space is a recreation centre to promote like the culture there, which is like the Malay culture, and like using sepak takraw as like my medium to like bring people in together so that they kind of can understand the Malay culture through the sports they play in. So I don't want to talk too much about the details of it, but basically this is what I submitted so you can just take a look. Another thing I submitted was also like it was actually for a competition where I kind of designed like I guess you could say like an apartment. For this competition requires you to design an apartment with a concept. So I chose nature because I'm kind of like inclined to like plants and nature, so that was kind of my inspiration. So I actually managed to go into like the top 10, which is not so bad. So it kind of surprised me also. So yeah, life is full of surprises.
What the hell are you talking about, bro? Life is full of surprises.
And another major project I submitted was also something I did in my second year of poly, which was a project in Pulau Ubin. It's actually a home for like, it's a girls home and boys town. Like, it's a recreation center for them to like kind of have a relaxation place, like a retreat, like a youth center retreat. So like, you know, instead of being cooped up like in the boys town and girls home, they have a place for them to like enjoy and relax and like let off their
de-stress.
Yeah, de-stress. Other projects are just like home-based projects where I design for like the elderly and everything, like a place for them to stay. So like we kind of like talk to elderlies and like get their inputs and kind of design something based on what they want. It's a very like experimental and discovery kind of project. For my particular elderly, she likes growing vegetables and everything. So naturally, like I would design a place with plants and like vegetables for her and her family.
So you are saying that you submitted 3 projects that you did in poly.
Yep, correct.
So these 3 projects, even though
Yeah, so the requirement was actually like 16 to 17
17 to 20.
mediums or media lah, but I don't know why I just didn't want to follow whatever they gave me.
So submitted 3 projects
So I
and
just submitted.
okay, that's all.
Yeah, I basically submitted 3 major projects with like some renderings here and there lah. So
I suppose because in
Yeah.
your projects there's a lot of pictures,
yeah,
Yeah.
so they get
Quite
some better
major
sense.
too.
Yeah.
And one thing to note also, like, you don't really have to create a lot of things out of nothing. You can, like as Sandra mentioned, you can actually take out a lot of stuff that you might think that won't work, but you just submit, because you will never know until like you try lah. I mean that's what I did, because I didn't really kind of follow what they did. I just submitted what I think I was proud of.
I mean, if you're as long as you're confident of your work, or more so if a certain piece of art shows about yourself, shows what you're capable of, I think that's enough. That's all they're looking out for, like something to present yourself and who like what kind of person they're accepting into the school.
Okay, so I guess I'll talk about my own portfolio right now. So for me, as I mentioned before, I was from junior college and I did art back for about 2 years. So this was more fine arts than it was in art school now. So the first thing I submitted, of course, was my final painting for my A-levels art piece right here. So painting is acrylic on canvas. It's 180 cm by 60 cm. So I did it in a grayscale painting. I was inspired by Picasso's Guernica for this work. Then the next one I did was this, what's it called? This comic book. No, wasn't exactly a comic book. I did this in my junior college for one of my midterm exams. This assignment, which was to develop a book called Why Can't You Understand? So it was a comic done in Copic markers on marker paper. I don't think you guys can see, so I'll put it digitally on the screen. But yeah, so I basically did like Copic drawings, and yeah, it was a story of my high school journey. Cause last time I watched a lot of like Japanese animation, and I was inspired by the slice of life genre, so I created a slice of life comic. Yeah, then the next one was a painting I did, final submission in year 1. But basically that painting my teacher submitted it to like the OCBC painting of the year or something, and it was exhibited at like at some international school because it was like top 20 or something. But it actually isn't very good painting, to be honest. So some of the art pieces, other portfolio pieces I submitted was random sketches, and I also did like some pen drawings. This was purely from my imagination. I have no idea what I was doing. You guys can see. Yeah, a lot of stylistic studies, like in shading, a lot of pen stuff, because I was quite accustomed to the dry mediums. I did a self-portrait also in watercolor. I sketched out some facial expressions. You can see like it was done in like probably like 10 minutes or something. But I submitted this. More Copic stuff, pen sketches. So most of my portfolio consisted a lot of pen sketches and watercolor and Copic marker. And my work wasn't very good. I didn't do very well for like A-levels, and so I believe what the professors are really looking out for is effort. Right?
I mean, we can't be too sure.
Yeah, we can't be too sure, right? Can't be too sure. But this was roughly my portfolio. Okay, so now we'll move on to like the second part, which is the writing sample and personal statement. So basically in this section, they asked you to, for me, like they asked me to choose between a broomstick, a bicycle wheel, or brick. What would I create with it and why? And then after that, they asked me to choose one piece of art and talk about it. And then where do I foresee myself 10 years from now? And then finally to choose what major I wanted to be in.
We don't have the brick.
Yeah, we don't have like what choose a bicycle or what. For us, it's just like we have like a brief introduction of yourself and like choose like an artist or a work that kind of inspires you. And the third one would be something like same. What do you see yourself doing 10 years from now, and what would you want to major in, either design art or media art?
So this year is the same as theirs actually. So it's the exact same 4 questions. What's unique and interesting? Yeah.
I think essentially all these questions are just to for them to have a better sensing of you as a creator or just you in general. So I don't think like we need to follow our answers or just have to be sincere and genuine with what you feel about these answers. There are no correct or wrong answers. So yeah. For me, I just talked about what I think are my strengths for the first question. An artist that I liked, for me, I happened to be at a museum, then just choose one of them. I took a picture of I like this artist a lot, but actually, honestly, I went home, Google some things about the person, I didn't really know. Because I wasn't really into arts, right? So yeah, I just chose something that I liked from the museum and did a bit of research. For the other questions, I just indicated I want to do media and that I would love to be in the media scene in Singapore. Yeah, that's about it.
All of answers are quite different. Like for mine, I indicated I wanted to open a cafe.
Oh. And he still got in.
Yeah, so like the answers are quite different and relative lah. Like you see different like from Sandra's and mine. So just be honest with yourself. I think. Like for the artist thing also, I had no idea like what art was or like what artist was. So I just went to see like nice pictures. And I kind of like you know how people take miniature photography. Then I just want to like find his name and just plop it in there. It's like I really like what he did. Just that I don't understand art. So I just kind of said what I liked about him. That's all. Like very straightforward and simple-minded.
Yeah. Alright, so we'll move on to the next part, which is the creative projects. So usually you'll be given a theme, and as mentioned, this year is diversity and inclusivity, right? So this year is diversity and inclusion, and for mine was risk. And they gave you 5 mediums to choose here, right? For me, I only have 4, but I chose to use photographic images to display the concept of risk. So
I chose 3D.
Yep.
For,
so she chose 3D.
What was ours?
Culture and imagination. Yep.
Right. So we just show you like our works right now on screen.
Oh, mine was a 3D piece.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just embarrassed. This was the box I submitted with all my assignments and portfolio. So for the 3D piece, it was quite funny. I don't know why I came up with this. I think I was at Orchard shopping with my friends and I just decided, hey, okay, there's this shoe selling at Hot Win for $10 that has grids. So why not? Why not I sew on the shoe? I'm very embarrassed there. So I don't know how or why I came up with this. Basically, culture being, so all the little things that I sewed onto the shoe was
Quite nice.
Yeah, I think it's
the places that the stuff that I sewed onto the shoe are places that I visited, and I guess that answered the culture part. On top of this 3D object that I submitted, I had a little brief to explain, including photos of myself with like this is a Buddha. So I had a picture of me beside the Buddha statue, and then I have me beside a temple that I visited, or like these are the flying lanterns in Taiwan. So behind the art, behind this piece, although it looks very skeptical, I believe they're also looking for artists that might have a thought flow as they create something could be.
So for me, my theme was risk in 2016, and I chose to use photographic images. So how I did it was a narrative. So how I did it was in a narrative format. So I plotted a storyline where basically this man is tempted by another woman So something like you see out of like a Hong Kong drama or like Taiwanese drama. Basically, he gets tempted by another woman, and if he accepts, then it will potentially break up his family. So it's a risk that he's taking if he wanted to go on a escapade with another woman. So that was my whole concept. So it starts out with a text message, and then it progresses further into some very cheap filters. Then when I didn't know how to edit any photos. Third is that's actually his daughter in the background, very poorly edited. Like spying on him, like it catches him like cheating. Yeah. Then I did some photoshopping again once again, so like the main character, who is female, ponders upon it, and then she becomes alcoholic. She summons the vices, and then she burns her family portrait, and then she goes crazy on the she just goes crazy over the road, like she's like really drunk and stuff, and then a car bangs her, and then the father receives a phone call, and then it loops back to the very starting point of the narrative, and the father deletes the message. My whole concept was anchored on the concept of like, what if you risk everything for something else? So basically that was my whole premise. Yeah. So Justin, what about yours?
So to be honest, mine wasn't something completely new. I kind of just like upgraded what I did in the past and like just created something out of it lah. So for my theme, it was same as Sandra, which is culture and imagination. So for like the culture, like we kind of like celebrate the culture through, I created this thing called a celebration pasar, which is also known as a market / bazaar. So this is to like celebrate the culture and tradition in Kampong Glam, which is it's rich in culture. So yeah, I think that's where the culture comes in. So it's like for people to like go in and like understand like the traditions and the various different things that the Malay culture did in the past, present, and what they plan to do in the future. So I just created like a 3D model and like a few renderings on like what this bazaar could be like and how it kind of brings people together, because I think that's the main part of what culture is, to bring people in and letting them understand and experience what the culture is like. So I created like a very permeable grid structure, so it kind of like lets not only lets air go through, but also let people's visibility see through. So this is like, in a way, it's on a play of transparency and how I kind of celebrate different visual experiences and throughout the various levels of the bazaar, bring connection and experience to people because they can see each other. Like this is how I kind of imagine the place to be, and how I want this place to be a central for people to learn the culture and the traditions. Yeah, so it's just a very simple project.
Alright, so now you've seen like our submissions for our creative projects, so not too hard, right? Okay, so we'll move on to the last section of the portfolio, which is the visuals. So like this year, mine in 2016 also had 3 components, and I think this has remained relatively unchanged. It's the same thing. Like for my year in 2016, it is the same. A drawing from observation, an abstract response using a circle, square and triangle, and a narrative with the team experiment. But for I believe for this year it's an observation drawing as well. So we will start with Sandra's visuals first.
I don't want to show.
I think it looks great. I haven't seen it actually.
Okay, so for visual, I drew a wine bottle. I was drinking it right there. I just decided to sketch out the bottle of wine that I was having. So this is
it's great.
I mean, it's just something in front of me. I'm like, okay, I have a submission to do. Okay, let me just sketch this. And to be honest, it's not great because I think I use mechanical pencil for this, which as an art student now, like studying in ADM and learning a bit about drawing during the foundation year, I would have approached this much differently lah, so to say. But yeah, so if you're not good at drawing, just take a good look at mine one more time and tell yourself that you can do it.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's mine.
It's okay. It's okay. So, there's room for improvement for sure.
Okay. Oh no.
Why?
Alright, so I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
Alright, so for my visuals, the first one, the observation drawing, I drew a light bulb. So this was my light bulb. Yeah, so nothing much, simple observation drawing. I actually traced a bit to a picture. And then I traced.
Oh, I think I printed my wine bottle and then I just shade the
Serious?
back of the picture.
Really?
I think I did that.
Yeah, so I actually didn't observe anything. I just took a picture actually, to be honest. The next one for my year 2016, the shapes one the theme was play. So in my mind I have no idea what I was doing. I just drew the shapes, just play. And the last one for the comic was the theme experiment. So in this, I once again did another comic. So for experiment, right, the narrative was the concept of this experimental drug. So I think at that point in time they had like all these films like Lucy and those performance enhancement drugs where you can take and you can like utilize 100% of your brain. So that was the concept I went with. Alright, so there you have it. So this is our submission package and how we got into NTU ADM.
Up to today, I still don't know how I got it.
Yeah, so this is our rawest and our junior days where we had no formal training whatsoever. I mean, Justin had his architecture training, I had my fine arts training, but Sandra here didn't have any training. And so it doesn't really matter like where you come from. Like all it matters, I feel, is that you put in the effort to try. That is the number one thing, and that you're willing to put yourself out there, even no matter how bad it is. Like as long as you give it your all, I think NTU will give you a shot into coming to art school.
I don't know, just do what you do. Just be honest with yourself and do what you do. And
Just be honest with
and just
yourself.
submit what you don't want to submit. But yeah,
Oh, I know. Okay, I think a lot of people enter, like if you see, you might get a little bit intimidated by the amount of things you have to submit, or you feel that you're not worthy of even trying, right? I think if you have that kind of thoughts, you should throw them away. Just try only. Yeah, because again, you never know what they might see in you. They might see a potential that you don't see in yourself. So just go ahead. Yeah. I mean, you go to school to learn, not because you're perfect already, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see my ugly stuff that I've just showed, but it doesn't mean this is where I am right now. I feel like school does teach you a lot of things. You learn how to form better creative thoughts.
Yeah.
still looking for.
Yeah, so just try. Like I myself also like Justin, I was doing my application when I was enlisted into the military. So I remember like every day I was just drawing, like whenever I have free time. So just try, and you never know what you might get lah. If you don't get in the first time, you can always try again the next year.
Yeah.
That's all we have. So all the best for submissions, and hopefully we'll see you in art school. Woo!
Yeah, my outro.
Are we done?
Yeah, outro lor.